What are the vibes like? Apple Cup win, you've been here a while. How's it feel to get that done?
Man, it's huge. Yeah, it's a big day for Cougar Nation, really. And it's funny, I had a teacher on Friday because we were traveling. I missed it, and I asked, "Hey, what do I need to do, to make up classwork?" And she goes, "No, nothing. You're good. It's just kind of a review day. But one thing, go beat the Huskies." And the first thing I do, come into class, and she announces, "Hey, we won the Apple Cup. Great job, Brock," which is really cool. But that just kind of shows what it means to Cougar Nation as a whole. Like it's a big deal. You got smiling faces, people storming the field. I got little kids tugging on my towel saying, "Hey, thank you." And so it's huge.
And then continuity's been talked about a lot. So many returning stars in the O-line. And then Devin, who's been here for a while, stepping in. Especially for you guys in your position group, what does that kind of continuity do? You guys have been around each other a long time. What does that mean to you, and how does that help you?
It's huge, especially playing on the offensive line. There's a saying, you don't play as a hand, you play as a fist, right? Because you can get more done that way. And so it helps to be on the same page and have that chemistry with guys. And you kind of have that same wavelength of passing off twists. And, you can you have that, I want to play for you, I have your back, 5 as 1 mentality.
Coach Dicker was saying that potentially last year the offensive line might have not held up against that unit that you faced on Saturday, but that obviously you guys pretty much neutralized their pass rush attack this weekend. What's kind of different or stands out the most to you about this line compared to last year's?
I think the biggest thing is we bought in the offseason and we focused on the small technique. If we do our job the way we know we can do, we're going to be great, right? And it's all about focusing on the little details, no matter what it is, whether that's hand placement, whether that's your first step, second step, hat speed off the ball. I think that's what's taken us to the next level, really.
Not only you guys, but the defensive line had a really good showing on Saturday. How much pride do you as an offensive unit take when you see the defensive line succeeding and knowing that you are the iron that sharpened that iron all throughout fall camp?
It's talked about, especially the coaching staff here, that what the offense does and how we compete with the defense, it's going to pay off one day. And so when I'm standing on the sideline, I can, put my head on the pillow and think, okay, I did everything I could to prepare them for this moment. And it's funny because we had that, I think there was a timeout that felt like an eternity waiting for that last play. And so I was just thinking, man, I've done my job. I think about all the inside run reps. I think about, all kinds of, team reps and fourth quarter finishes that we've done. And it's huge. And I love watching those guys succeed because they work their tails off, and I'm really proud of them.
And, Coach Dickert has been talking about how important it is for you guys to stay humble, not to put too much on the hot start. How does that look for you?
It's next play mentality. Hungry and humble is what my offensive line coach in high school used to tell me, and he texts me that every week still, which is awesome. But it's really is the old adage, you're only as good as the next one. And so you just come back, hard hat and lunch pail, and get back to work. Do the same routine, do what you're doing, nameless, faceless opponent, just do what you do.
I guess kind of building off of that, but you guys have had such strong performances over these Power 4, these big teams. How important is that to carry on that same performance to these Mountain West teams and then these teams that the Cougars are going to be seeing in 2 years, Boise, San Diego, things like that? How important is it to just carry that on through the Mountain West slate?
I think that's everything. I mean, there's some dudes in the Mountain West. There's no drop off. I mean, they might have a smaller reputation as programs, but I mean, they're good. I mean, Fresno State's always a powerhouse, and all these teams we're about to go through. So it's important to keep that momentum and keep the same consistency that we've had through the first 3 weeks.
For so long, at least maybe the last decade, this game has often been decided in the trenches, and that has often favored Washington. That wasn't the case, I think, as mentioned earlier on Saturday. What did you guys do as a line to kind of say, okay, we know that they have some size, we know that they have some talent, we're just going to be tougher, we're going to be grittier, we're going to beat them off the line of scrimmage?
I mean, really, that's come from the January. I mean, we had it in our heads, and we talked with Coach Ben. We wanted to be the most feared offensive line in the country, right? So we just went out, attacked sleds, we attacked workouts, and we did everything we could in the offseason to build that toughness to be able to finish in pivotal moments like that. So it didn't start the week before, but really 9 months before of us trying to work on that.
Well, I asked Coach Dicker this earlier. Their first offsides penalty, Devin gets hit, does a barrel roll, does a flip, does a full tumbling routine. Are you just kind of looking down on him like, what is this guy doing? Or was it just kind of, okay, that's just Devin being Devin?
Yeah, it's funny. I think he was trying to sell it, and so it's Devin being Devin, really. But I was more. It's funny. I started cheering. I looked to my left with Christian, and then I caught the tail end of his little flipping performance, it gave me a good little chuckle.
On Kyle's tackle to seal the game, like where were you on the sideline? What was your angle, and what do you remember about that play?
I was right pressed up against the end of the box. I think it's the 20 now because of COVID. I believe it is. There's painted lines, and now it's spray painted on our field. But I was like 3 yards back from the second white line, and just standing. And I could see it clear as day. There was a gap between, I think, the media people on the sideline, and I saw him flowing, and I was like, oh, he's gonna stop him, and it was just, ecstatic. It's a crazy feeling.
You and I are not like besties, but you seem like a pretty nice and gentle guy, at least in these sorts of interactions. I would imagine you can't really play that way to play the way you want to play. Is there some sort of switch you flip when you get out there? Kind of how do you get into that mode?
I treat it as a job, and when I step between the lines, you flip that switch and you're there to do your job and to compete. And really, it helps to know that you're protecting the guys behind you, and what you do helps the people around you. And so that goes a long way to try to help push that switch and help me push through